Oh hey YouTubers, Heidi ho! I had a little bit of pot roast. I thought I'd get canned up today, and I decided, heck, I'll show you guys how I do it. First thing I usually do is dice it up into cubes about like that. Once you get it in the can, you can use it for all kinds of stuff. Beef stroganoff. We like to make something called steak tips, just bread it up and brown it a little bit. Or for it's already ready for beef stew. I trimmed off quite a bit of the fat, and not all of it, because there's a little bit of fat left on here, but you know, in certain future circumstances, fat might be a good thing. Now I could render this down and make lard out of it, and I like to can it. Not recommended by the FDA or USDA, but I do it anyhow. And I am cold packing this beef today, and it's not recommended, I don't think, by the USDA either. I'm not quite sure about that one. I know a lot of people like to, you know, when you're first starting out canning, you do a lot of water bath stuff, and part of this is pressure canning, and I just want to let people know that it's not something to really be afraid of. Just get yourself a good book like the Ball Blue Book, and follow the instructions carefully. The cold pack method for beef and pork is not in the Ball Blue Book, because it is safer to hot pack, but I like to cold pack it because it saves a step or two. So anyhow, got my jars and lids and rings simmering in some water over here. Almost forgot. Gotta wipe the rim. When I'm doing this, I don't like to, I usually don't, you know, one of the steps you're always supposed to do is get the air bubbles out. And but since I'm cold packing, you really can't. I mean, you can't really do it, and you want to. I try to do about a ½ inch head space, because it will shrink, and then the juices will come out, and they're going to fill all those voids anyhow. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And anyway, I'm gonna put these in my pressure canner here, the old Betsy, and that doesn't look like I'm going to get more than about 2 pints out of that little pot roast. But I needed to get it done, and get it out of the way. We tend to wind up canning something every day around here. So I'll put all this in here, and I try to pack it down pretty good, because like I say, it does shrink. Beef or pork, both ways. I just did a whole bunch of pork loin the other day. Always remember to wipe your rims. I have a clean paper towel here. And there's not that much more to it. That's the way you should put a lid on, by the way, so you're not touching the underside. And adjust your caps, kind of finger tight, not too tight. So, a whole whopping 2 pints, almost not worth firing up the pressure canner. But anyhow, I think I'll just cook that up and give it to the dogs for a treat tonight. I'll be back and show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so why learn to pressure can? Because it opens up a lot of possibilities for you. Listen, you can water bath can pickles and jellies and things, and it's a good way to get your feet wet. But until you get yourself a decent pressure canner, and I would really recommend an All-American if you can afford it. My old canner is a Quick. It was made for Montgomery wards in like the 1930s. But an All-American doesn't have a rubber gasket, so that might be important in the future SHTF world. But by pressure canning, you can do all kinds of things. Here's some chicken, green beans, pork loin. This is some corned beef down here. Corn, of course. Bacon ends and pieces. I left all the fat in there because I can drain that off in the future. Same with meatloaf. I can meatloaf. There are all kinds of possibilities, and it turns into a really almost an interesting hobby for you. So learn to do this stuff, and you'll be able to buy, even if SHTF never happens, you'll be able to buy stuff on sale at the store when you find it at a really good price. Put it up, and if you have a natural disaster or something, ice storm or something that causes the power to go out, you won't have to worry about it in the freezer. I've heard an awful lot of people say, well, okay, if something happens, I'll have to hurry and can up all my stuff in the freezer. But unless you already are doing it, you don't know how, you don't learn. And I got to tell you, it is work. And I can't imagine having to do an entire freezer full at one time. So we'll let our pot roast finish processing, and then show it to you when it's all done. Okay, well, I got busy and had my radio show, etc., and it was late at night before I got my pot roast out of the pressure canner. But again, folks, don't be afraid of pressure canning. Go ahead and get yourself one, even if you have to pick one up at a yard sale or auction or something. And go ahead and try it. Just follow the instructions carefully in something like the Blue Book or another safe source of recipes and instructions, and go for it. It's a method of preserving food that everyone should have in their toolkit for future use. And I think once you do it, you'll enjoy it, and you'll have a lot of fun. So go ahead and give it a shot. In the meantime, we'll get through this.